Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies, and here's your host, Jason Marshall.
Hey everybody, thanks for downloading the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got 2 guests this week, and the podcast official weatherman, Frankie MacDonald, will be here as well. So this may be a longer than normal episode. A guest who will be on later is somebody that I briefly talked about last week with Kat Dunn, the star of the Netflix documentary Behind the Curve. Flat Earther Mark Sargent returns to the show. But first, my next guest is quite possibly my favorite guest ever. You may know her from NBC's Last Comic Standing or from Scream Queens on Fox. She's one half of the comedy duo The Garbanzo Bean Babes with Erica Anderson. It's the fabulous Andy Erikson. How you doing?
Oh, so good. It's been so long.
It has. How's the Garbanzo Bean Babes duo going?
Oh my gosh. Yes, we've added more styles of beans to our babeness. We've got pinto, we've got baked. It's been really good. It's been eye-opening, and I've grown as a person since starting the beans.
That's nice to hear. Do you own a tortoise?
No, but my husband has always wanted to get one and put it in our backyard. So it's a great question.
I am a big fan of video games. I play them quite a bit. It's a way for me to unwind other than just watching TV or spending time with my family. With that said, I'd like to know more about your pilot, The Legend of Zumi.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That is my show. I'm trying to write about a girl who gets trapped inside of a video game and then goes on a bunch of adventures through different worlds. And she's in there with another girl who's trapped in there by her dad because she's in a coma. So it gets deep.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I would love to see that someday.
Yeah, me too. I'm working on it.
Okay, this is a serious question. I could swear that since you were on the show last, you were on America's Got Talent, but I can't find anything about it online. Were you on there, or is it?
Yeah, I auditioned, but they ended up cutting me from the show.
Oh.
So I am on like the very, very first episode. They show me doing an interview. So like there's footage of me, but I didn't make it into the show. But yeah, but I did it and it was a lot of fun, but just due to COVID and everything. Yeah, they cut a bunch of people and they cut people every year. So.
Okay,
I wasn't a bummer.
I wasn't sure if it was just like the Mandela Effect, where I thought something happened, but it was, and it actually did. But...
Yeah, but which is fine. I mean, a lot of people thought I was on it, but what's funny is people who didn't hear that, or they heard I was on it, didn't hear that I wasn't, and then were like, "Oh yeah, you were so good on America's Got Talent. I saw you, blah blah blah," as if they're just pretending that they watched me, and I just go along with it because I don't want to be like, "Oh, I didn't do it." I just go, "Oh yeah, I know, it was so fun." Like, oh man,
maybe they were in the audience or something. Maybe it was the cameraman.
yes, so they did see me.
You never know.
Yes. My performance is between me and the cameraman. It was just for him.
Did you ask him?
I don't, the camera people are pretty mysterious. They, I don't think they want to be known. I've never really seen a camera person ever, now that I think about it. Like their face, just
right.
Like their arms and stuff. They just wave their arms a lot.
Well, if you heard last week's episode, I ran down the strange days of the week, and I should have had you on last week because last Tuesday was Marzipan Day, and you actually have marzipan syndrome. What can you tell listeners about that?
Marzipan syndrome. Oh my gosh, yes, it is. It's very rare but delicious. My arms and legs are edible, which is weird because you have to fight off animals and things like that. But I can still play soccer, so it's fine. But yeah, it's a pretty rare disorder. But I like to spread awareness and marzipan. It's just spreading marzipan. It's contagious too. So. But,
I like that little added wrinkle at the end.
Yeah, just by the way.
Well, I have a lot of great listeners. One of my favorites is a guy named John the Songman. I let him know who's going to be on the podcast, and he makes songs about them. And he made one just for you. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, good. Yeah, absolutely.
My name's Erikson, and I always love when I eat my corn whenever I look outside and watch a storm, because it makes me want to enjoy movies when I watch a movie of a unicorn, and that just makes me fall in love with a unicorn, and whenever I'm watching a storm.
Kind of an abrupt ending.
Yeah, that's so funny. I think I've heard that song before.
Really?
Yeah, I think I have it, that album.
I was going to say, local channel or...
Yeah. No, I was there when he recorded it, hiding in his room.
You were the cameraman.
Yeah, I was the cameraman.
He had no idea.
That was really good. I am. There's a snowstorm going on right now, and I'm watching the snow. And, and yesterday it was my niece's birthday, and she loves corn and cake. And we asked her, would you rather have corn for your birthday or cake? And she said, corn on the cake. So I think we're doing corn cake next year. So,
you can make her a candy corn cake.
oh my gosh, that sounds delicious. That's a good idea.
I follow you on Instagram. Always love your Instagram posts, but you started something called the Pontoon Lady.
Oh, yeah, Pontoon Lady.
What was the inspiration behind that? And can you explain what that is for the listeners? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but just in case.
Yeah. So when you get on a pontoon, you just suddenly become a new person because you're so fancy. You have a boat that's also a living room. and you get to drive around the lake and judge people, which is so fun. But yeah, Pontoon Lady, yeah. It's like, that's who I am when I have confidence and courage. It's my, what's it called? Alter ego?
Yeah.
It's Pontoon Lady. It's inspired by just Midwestern women who are empowered by their pontoons.
I love how you explain what a pontoon is. It's a boat that's a living room. That's the perfect explanation, too.
It's so many people don't know what a pontoon is. Like in California, they had never even really heard of it or seen it. I'm like, there's songs about it. You don't know what a pontoon is.
My uncle used to have a pontoon boat. It was really nice.
Yeah, they're lovely. It's like it's like you don't need to be going fast on the water. You don't need this big engine. You just need a place to drink.
Yeah, it is very much like a living room or maybe a patio because he had a grill on there, so that was kind of fun too.
Oh my gosh, that's epic. That's so cool.
Yeah. We're having fun and kind of hate to bring this up, but why don't you own a tortoise?
Honestly, you sound like my husband right now. I've had this discussion so many times. Okay, we will get a tortoise when we have our own land with place for it to play around because we can't keep it in the house. It'll smell. It'll fight with the cat. We will work on it. One day we will get one. Just be patient. Okay, Jason? Just be patient with me.
You know, I've never thought of this. I own a cat. Who would win in a fight between a tortoise and a cat?
The tortoise, because it could just stick its head in and just be fine, and the cat would get bored. Like, can you imagine trying to get a cat to fight? I don't know. At least mine will, like, pat at something for a little bit, and she just pretends like she doesn't care, and she walks away. So it's just like, she doesn't care.
Because the tortoise can kind of pick its spots, you know? It can just hide and then come out, take a bite real quick, duck back in. And
yeah.
All right.
Exactly. And, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're slow.
Yeah.
You know? Good. That'll be fun, just turtle versus turtle. I guess that's why we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, now that I think about it.
Well, we are not advocating turtle on turtle violence. Just in case anybody thinks we're starting turtle chicken fights or something.
Turtle fight rings. Yeah.
Well, it's been great talking to you. I'd love to finish up the interview by playing a quick game. Are you up for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Pick a number between 1 and 10.
It's so funny. My brain went 11. So I think I'll do 2.
All right. I love that game. Always lots of fun. Is there anything you'd like to promote before you go?
That was the game?
Yeah.
I was going to pick a number and it would correspond to a game.
No, that's the whole game. Isn't it fun?
Well, if I would have known, I would have put more thought into it. 3. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry the game's over.
What? No.
Maybe next time.
Oh, crap. Dang it. I don't know if I won or lost, but I'm not happy about it. About my performance.
Well, maybe you can come back for a Tournament of Champions style. Pick a number.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll take on anyone. Any day of the week. Well, I have a game for you.
Okay.
Pick a color.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go with green.
All right.
That was fun.
How does it feel?
I got to say, exhilarating.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm trying to get the adrenaline out of my system from that. So,
Yeah, you got to do a cool down.
Is there anything you'd like to promote before you go?
I'd like to promote a podcast I haven't made yet, but I plan on making it.
Okay.
So for people could in the future just listen to my podcast. It might be a couple of years from now, but just keep me in mind. I'd like to promote something.
So just occasionally in your favorite podcatcher, just type in Andy Erikson to see if anything comes up. Yes,
perfect. Isn't that great? I'm so good at marketing.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Just in case, go out there, search every now and then. It's coming out someday. You'll see.
Yeah, you'll see new episodes whenever. I don't know.
I got to say, I loved your last podcast. It was amazing.
Oh, thanks. I bought 10 years of hosting for that podcast, and it just ran out like last year, so now the episodes aren't available, but whatever. I think I have them still on where, I have them somewhere.
All right. Well, you'll have to transfer them over to VHS and send them to me.
I sure will.
All right, Andy. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And where can people find you online?
Andy Erikson, ANDYERIKSON. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Andy Erikson.
Want to contact the show? Send an email to jason@wedon'thavecookies.com or call 929-266-WDHC. That's 929-266-9342. And leave a voicemail.
I am back, and joining me now is the star of the Netflix documentary Behind the Curve and the poster child, or poster man, poster person, not sure, of the Flat Earth movement. It's Mark Sargent. How you doing?
Best intro ever. Thank you very much for having me.
It's always a pleasure. I really enjoyed the last time you were on. Well, Mark, wait, am I pronouncing that right? Mark?
What,
Mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, if you're into the Bible. Yeah. It's a name. I've heard it. There's a few people doing it.
That's a shout out to whoever got really annoyed that I kept saying Mark over and over again last time. I just had to do it one more time. A quick question. Do you own a tortoise?
Do I own a tortoise? Like a turtle?
Yeah.
I do not. Although I think they're very, very cool. I mean, they're a little boring as pets, but I love the species. Why?
Yeah, you seem to be in the majority of that. Most people don't, so I was just checking.
Oh, yeah. I don't own one. I was always fascinated that sea long sea voyages, you would get giant, tortoises because they last a long, long time, and you don't have to feed them much or give them much water, and then they would eventually eat them.
I don't think I could have a pet that could outlive me. I think that would kind of, on a subconscious level, well, I guess now that I'm saying it's more of a conscious level, but it would annoy me. That this, because
you would always wonder. It's like, oh, who does my tortoise go to, or my elephant? Well, those two animals I know live longer than people.
Well, I think a tortoise would bother me because I don't know what their intelligence level is, but it's dumber than a human. I have to spend my life taking care of it, and it's just sitting around, and it's going to outlive me. That's not cool. Well, Mark, I brought you on. I wanted to ask, do you believe in the Mandela Effect? I know that you have a lot of conspiracy theories that you believe in. This one, I was watching something on, I was watching something on Netflix. It was HBO Max, and they were talking about the Mandela Effect. There were some interesting things. I wanted to bring you on and get your take.
You mean the Mandela Effect?
Is that what's? Are you messing with me?
That's an inside joke, by the way.
Okay.
If you're and then there's the Mandela Effect. So yeah, I do believe in it. Actually, I absolutely believe in the Mandela Effect. In fact, there was a friend of mine who asked me about that at a conference last year, or 2018, 2019. I'm getting the years mixed up. Where I told him there was an instance that I had remembered in a movie that nobody else remembered, which was a line, if you remember the original Planet of the Apes from 1968, and Charlton Heston, when they had first crashed on the planet, which ended up being Earth, he had said that man needs to know his limitations. And somebody had said, no, Clint Eastwood had said that in one of the Dirty Harry movies. I think it was called The Enforcer. And I said, no, Charlton Heston said it. I remember because he said it and then he laughed. It was when the guy was planting a little flag next to the lake. And no one else remembered it but me. So, yeah. I mean, it could have been, faulty memory, sure. But there's a lot of stuff out there. And the reason why I believe in it is because because I'm a huge believer in virtual reality and the Matrix and all that. And kind of like the black cat from the Matrix. If you see a cat, the cat twice type thing, there's a glitch. And I know through all the computer stuff that I did over the years that if you save a document, because I was notorious for this, I'd like use the same, in fact, I still do it now. I save the same Word document and redo it with my daily tasks. And I do it over and over and day after day. And after a while, if you kept saving things over, some weird formatting stuff would happen in the background where it shouldn't be possible. It's just pretty straightforward. You're saving the document. And it was like this ghost in the machine type deal. And when I went to my programmer friends, I was going, what do you think is happening? And they just shake their head. It's like, man, I don't know. It's computers, Even today in 2021, we still have to reboot computers.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. It's like something goes wrong. It's like, well, computers are part magic. They're part quantum already. So, sorry, short answer, yes, I absolutely believe in it.
And real quick for listeners, the Mandela Effect is something. Actually, I was going to ask you. You'd probably be the best to explain it.
Sure. The Mandela Effect is based off of Nelson Mandela. The original thing that I don't know why that one was the one they chose. I mean, I suppose it's catchy, I guess, even though there's a lot of people don't even know who Nelson Mandela was. He was a leader down in Africa, and he was jailed for being an activist, and the people in power, they fight over stuff, kind of like what we're doing now in the United States. And he was jailed, and there's a whole bunch of people that thought he died in jail. And it turns out he wasn't dead. He was alive. But there was a lot of people that remember him dying. There were these stories going around. And so there was these arguments that would go back and forth between people. And you run into these from time to time where you'll have if you have 10 people in a room, they will argue about things. And it all comes down to memory. Since we don't have the ability to map the human mind, we don't, like certain movies where you can actually record memories.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to prove it. But like the obvious ones would be like the Berenstain Bears versus the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
If you remember the children's book, there's tons of people that remember it as the Berenstain, but if you look it up right now, it's Berenstain. It's media. A lot of it's media. One of the big ones, though, that I was really surprised was the girlfriend of Jaws in James Bond. The big Herkin guy with the metal teeth.
Uh-huh.
Everyone remembers her. It's like, oh yeah, they had this common connection because she had braces. That's how he fell in love with you. She was this cute little blonde girl, like straight out of a Swiss Miss Coco ad. But she smiled and she had a big set of braces. She had a grill. And he smiled and they, the music and the connection. You look now, she has no braces.
Really?
And it doesn't even make sense now. You're looking and go, why does this happen? And so the thought is that history has been changed. That's really the Mandela effect, is that we are living in, we've all heard of parallel universes and timelines and stuff like that. Time travel movies I'm always fascinated with, and the butterfly effect I really, really love. In fact, if you haven't never watched the butterfly effect, the movie, I highly recommend it. But we're living in a world that is being updated on the fly. But for some reason, there are people out there that remember some of the old changes, which kind of harkens back to what I was talking about, which is maybe if enough changes are made in the Matrix, there are glitches, not necessarily in the Matrix itself, but in the memory of the people. There's some people that remember the slightly older versions of whatever it is, and it's fascinating, and it's been around for a number of years now.
The thing that stands out to me, and I'm not sure if it's the Mandela effect or if I'm just completely misremembering, but one of the things is Febreze. In my mind, every time I remember seeing anything about Febreze, it was F-E and breeze was spelled like breeze. But apparently on the bottle, there's only one E in breeze. That blew my mind because until I saw that being discussed on that HBO show, in my head, that's how I've always seen it. I don't know if I put it there because I just assumed breeze was spelled that way or what, but I was really shocked that it's spelled differently than I've always thought it was spelled.
Right. I'm looking up some of the top ones that people remember, and like the Monopoly Man. A lot of people, when you think of the Monopoly Man, you think that he has a monocle, and most people remember him having a little monocle, a little one binocular, one set of glass thing, and he doesn't. He absolutely does not. And there's some people say, okay, well, maybe you're confusing it with the peanut butter.
Yeah, the Mr. Peanut
with the top hat. Let's see, Jiffy peanut butter. Technically, a lot of people remember Jiffy peanut butter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But supposedly there has never been a Jiffy brand peanut butter. There's been Jif and Skippy, but never Jiffy. And so it's like, okay, so you're telling me all these people are combining Jif and Skippy and came up with Jiffy on their own?
You know what? I might edit that out, and me and you will start Jiffy peanut butter. Everybody already knows the name.
Yeah. Let's see here. Fruit of the Loom label, the frowning Mona Lisa. Oh, that's an interpretation. Oh, okay. One of the big ones. Okay. One of the big ones was Ed McMahon and the Publishers Clearinghouse thing, right? And so if you're old enough to remember Ed McMahon, who was the co-host of Johnny Carson, who would be in these commercials where he would show up at people's doors with a giant check, right? With the Publishers Clearinghouse Millions. Sweepstakes. Supposedly, now, he never was there. He was never there. Now, he endorsed American Family Publishers. While the entities were similar, McMahon never appeared on camera as part of the prize patrol. And I remember vividly him showing up at people's houses because that was the star factor, the starstruck thing. You would want that guy showing up at your door. It's like, oh, it's Ed McMahon, the co-host of the most popular nighttime show in America. He was never there. Here's the Berenstain versus Berenstain. could have sworn it was, let's see, C-3PO, Risky Business. Oh, yeah, that was fun. Remember Tom Cruise dancing in his underwear, dress shirt, and Ray-Bans while home alone in 1983's Risky Business. But if you watch the movie now, he doesn't wear sunglasses. And it's like, oh, really? He didn't? Yeah, there's tons of them. It's a thing out there. I mean, there's a lot of people. Now, is it the reason why I think it's catchy more than other conspiracies is it's not sinister at all.
Uh-huh.
It's this fun little thing, and because it's unprovable, because we don't have the ability to record and play back on video the human mind, the human memory, we don't have a way to do this. And so you just have to, whatever it is now, you have to say that was it for all time. But as we know, human perception is a very, very tricky thing. Let me end this part with this, which is, do you remember the dress argument, the black dress, white dress argument?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's people in the same room looking at the exact same image on the screen.
Right.
And you'd have 7 people saying it was black, and the other, with whatever trim, and the other 3 would say that it was white. Who's right? In fact, you could give them both lie detector tests, and they would all pass.
Right.
It comes down to perception. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. And do I believe in it? Yes, because it ties in with the virtual issues that we have. I firmly believe, that regardless whether God created it or not, that we are living in a matrix type scenario. And it ties in with the double slit experiment and the neuroscience versus free will experiment, which just scream that, that this place is digital. And that would be one of the side effects is, little things. I mean, it was fascinating that they built that into the Matrix where they saw the same cat twice.
Right.
I thought that was a nice little wrinkle. And in our case, in this world, it seems to be little aspects that most of the population remembers a certain way, and we don't have all the numbers, but a certain section of the population remembers it a slightly different version.
Well, I had something happen the other day, and when it did, I thought, you know what? I need to talk to Mark about this and see how he can explain this with the flat earth movement. I put a can of Sprite in the freezer, right?
In a can of Sprite?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I forgot about it. The next day I opened the freezer to get some ice. I see that the can has exploded. Not fully, just you can see there was some Sprite chunks on the ice tray. I get it out, and it occurs to me, if it was glass, if I had a glass cup in the freezer and I left it in there for a long time, and then I got it and I poured scalding hot water on it, the glass would break, right? So I thought, what would happen if I did the same thing to this can of Sprite? And I put it in the sink, I run scalding hot water on it, and all of a sudden this mist, almost like you're at a amusement park where they have the mist machines so you can walk through and get cooled off, but you're not soaking wet.
Right.
Sprite is just going everywhere in this mist form. And I thought, if the world was flat, how would that be possible?
I got to say, out of all the interviews I've done, I have never heard that one. Okay. So
I changed your mind, didn't I?
So it's Sprite.
It's the Sprite effect.
If Sprite is spraying in all directions from a bursting can, this, you're wondering how the flat Earth explains that because of gravity or buoyancy, or you're just what would you I will take this question back at you. What would you expect it to do if the world was flat? Not do that, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
Because why?
You know what? I never really thought about it, and you got me. All right, Mark.
Okay. So when it comes to, all right, I'll take the generic approach on this one.
All right.
Which is let's just tie it to gravity, because a lot of people will say that gravity seems to be the answer for just about 90% of the science questions that we get when it comes to comparisons. It's like, well, gravity says this or gravity says that. First off, let's get the obvious out of the way, which is if we are living in a flat enclosed world, it's not spinning. There's no centrifugal force. Now, is there gravity? Some people in the community say, well, no, there's no gravity at all. It's just buoyancy, which means if you're in a pressurized system, layers of density just naturally form. However, I go along the lines of, well, science can't even tell you. You ask any scientist, any physicist, they can't tell you what gravity is. They can only tell you what it does. Meaning, they can only tell if gravity has side effects, but they can't reproduce it artificially. Mm-hmm. So they can't really, again, their answer is, well, gravity is a magical molecular force that pulls things down to the center of a sphere with mass. And we say, well, that gravity is a magical molecular force that just pulls things straight down. Not necessarily because of mass. I mean, I suppose there could be mass, but again, since science can't really define it, we're not going to take that leap and define it either. Only that it really acts almost identical to what it does on a sphere. There's almost no difference at all, other than, again, maybe a slight angle, but it would be so gradual that you'd never be able to detect it. So does that kind of help, kind of?
Yeah, I think we're both saying the same thing.
And when it comes to the pressurized system, I gotta clarify this real fast, which is if you were living in a pressurized system, that would explain a lot. Meaning, why, when you take a volleyball or a beach ball, you hold it underwater, why does it pop back up? Well, because it's less dense than the water. And when you take a helium balloon, let go, why? Why does it go up? Well, it goes up because it's less dense than the air around it. And hot air, rises, cold air falls, that whole thing. With the big problem is, again, if you're believing a sphere, is that what happens when it gets up to space? For example, it's a question I've posed to every scientist I ever talk to, which is what happens at the bleeding edge of space? What happens when our atmosphere ends and space begins? Because physics, straight up, thermodynamics says it's a simple law that says a pressurized system cannot exist next to a non-pressurized system without some sort of barrier. We see that, a vacuum. What we're breathing in right now, what you're breathing in right this second, is not nothing. It looks like nothing because it's transparent, but it's not nothing. It's 80% nitrogen and 20% oxygen. And the vacuum, there's nothing. There's no molecules. The only reason we get confused is we can't see the air we're breathing in. So why doesn't space, which apparently is nothing, why doesn't that... there's a cat that's bothering me.
I wasn't sure if that was your survival.
If you hear a yowling, that's why. It's a restless cat. Why doesn't the empty vacuum of space rip off our atmosphere? And you say, well, gravity. Again, it's that mysterious gravity thing. And it's like, no, because here's why. That has a problem. If you take a vacuum chamber and you put it above you, on the second floor above you, and you put a valve between there and where you were sitting right now, and you pop that valve, what do you think happens? It's not like the movies. It's instant. It's violent. And your air where you're sitting right now will get sucked straight up. It will equalize instantly. The movies absolutely botch that every time. And I know it's for dramatic effect. So the question is, why didn't gravity keep the air in your room? Well, because vacuum will win every time. The force of the vacuum is stronger. So, the follow-up question is, when you walk outside, why is the atmosphere not rushing upstairs? Why is it not rushing into space? And your instinct, your knee-jerk reaction will always be, well, gravity, obviously.
My knee-jerk, just you saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's one of those things that science, the reason why our community, is skeptical is because the general public believes whatever the lab coats tell them. It's, well, that guy's wearing a lab coat, he's carrying a clipboard, he's obviously more intelligent than me. Therefore, whatever he says, I am going to believe. That's a very powerful and very slippery slope. You should question everything yourself. Do your own research, ask questions. And what I try to tell people, and I know I'm rambling, which is, you want to tell me what the boiling temperature of water is at sea level? Sure, I can test that with a pan and some water and make sure I'm at sea level. Right now, you want to tell me what the core of the Earth looks like? Not so fast. because the deepest hole ever drilled is only 8 miles. So why are you showing me all these cross sections of what the Earth looks like? And in fact, you read the fine print. Science will say, yeah, we have no idea what's down there. We're just extrapolating. And it's like, well, why are you showing? Why don't you put that somewhere? It's like, well, because we don't like putting question marks in textbooks. We don't want people asking questions. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I don't want to end things on a dark note. But
okay, where do you want to go?
Well, that's where I was going, and like I said, I don't want it to be too dark, but when I explained about the Sprite exploding and it was like a mist coming out because it came out of the small hole, and that's just how it looked. While I was talking to you, I have the word Sprite in front of me to remind me to try to catch you in that little flat Earth trap. I noticed that Sprite has most of the letters in it that Sierra Mist has. Do you think Sierra Mist is just exploded Sprite cans repackaged?
I think that, well, I have mixed feelings about that. Okay. Because I'm a big believer in corporate collusion, but I am also a big believer in corporate espionage. There are some corporations that work together as part of a team monopoly, and there are other corporations that would like to drive each other into the ground. When it comes to the Sierra Mist Sprite connection, it's kind of tough because, wait, Sierra Mist is owned by Pepsi, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true?
You know what? I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
Hang on. Let me look that up.
All right.
Who owns Sierra Mist? Yeah, it's Pepsi. Okay. So, yeah, that's a rivalry. No, I do not think they are in collusion because that's literally Pepsi versus Coke. And that's a corporate rivalry that has been going on for a very, very long time. And Coke has the market share and they spend the most money. But Pepsi's, had some interesting products over the years. They've also done very, very well. I think the heat of their rivalry was back in the 80s. When they were pretty even, they were both going for these massive, who could get the biggest celebrity. Mm-hmm. And I believe, in fact, if my memory serves me, I think Pepsi had the Jacksons, Michael Jackson and the Jacksons. That was their big push. So, no, I don't think there's any collusion between Pepsi and Coke on the Sierra Mist thing. Oh, but to your point, do corporations steal each other's ideas and demographic targeting things? Yes, you bet they do all the time. I mean, how many you can go to the grocery store and how many names are close to the other names? Right. Because if one company comes up with a name that does really well with a focus group, well, why mess with success? You want to get something as close as possible. Just one example would be Kool-Aid versus Flavor Aid.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Copyright is an easier thing to get around than you might think. As long as you don't use the same wavy graphics and the same color scheme, you can, which is why corporations will sometimes trademark the logo as close as possible.
And that's why our Jiffy peanut butter is going to be a success.
Exactly. Well, no, I think Jif would probably sue us. Skip, you won't sue us, but Jif, I think, would come straight for us if we did that.
Well, it was great talking to you as always, Mark. Is there anything you'd like to promote before you go?
Yeah. If you're out there, if you want to find me, just type in Flat Earth Mark into YouTube. It's easy enough to find my stuff. I have 3 books on Amazon. Just type in Flat Earth Mark Sargent. The documentary is called Behind the Curve, and again, lots of other stuff out there, but that'll get you started.
You got a funny feeling and you don't know what to do, like there's some sort of conspiracy plotting against you. It's so crazy you think maybe you were paranoid, but here's the good news, buddy. Actually, you're not. Everything is out to get you. Everybody wants you dead. Everything is out to get you. It's not just in your head. There's taxes and diseases and telemarketers, hidden programs that are running on your computer. Even the little worms that live beneath your feet are looking forward to the day when you will be their meat. Everything is out to get you. Everybody wants you dead. Everything is out to get you. It's not just in your head. The sun up in the sky is trying to give you cancer, and everybody everywhere thinks you're a lousy dancer. The old lady across the street wants to beat you with a bat. Your cat's in on it too, but you're not surprised by that. So next time that you're feeling a little paranoia, don't worry, it's just the universe trying to destroy you. And smile a little smile and dance a little dance, 'cause you never know, it could be your last chance. Everything is out to get you. Everybody wants you dead. Everything is out to get you. It's not just in your head. Everything's out to get you. Everybody wants you dead.
I am back, and joining me now is the world's most famous weatherman and YouTube sensation, Frankie MacDonald. Frankie, what is the weather going to be like this week starting on Monday?
It's going to be really cold all around Ohio and those places. They got total vortex headed for their way. Then it got Santa Ana winds headed for Southern California. It's going to trigger a lot of fires in California. And South America, there's been a lot of rain this week coming up in around Brazil, places like that. And southern tip of Chile, it's getting a lot of stormy weather and high winds, heavy rain. Santa Lucia, Argentina, and all these places. It's been a lot of rain, lots of rain over New York and some snow in eastern New York. And Japan's getting really cold weather lately. And Uganda, Kenya, and all these places are getting a really bad weather, lots of rain and things like that. And because it's their rainy season, thing with Indonesia, to get through the La Nina, thanks to La Nina. In Australia, it's been really, really rainy and hot. But it's dry weather going on too. New Zealand's not even very good summer so far. Tropical cyclone season in New Zealand, Vanuatu, Fiji Islands, New Caledonia, French Polynesia, it's going to kick up into high gear in March.
Do you own a tortoise?
What?
Most people don't. I've been asking everybody on today's episode if they own a tortoise. So far, no one does. And doesn't seem like that's a very popular pet. Do you have pets?
I don't have that.
Okay. Well, now it's time for something that we just started last week. It's a little something called What's That Mean?, where Frankie gets to ask me as many questions as he wants. Whenever you're ready, Frankie.
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
And what does the smartphone mean?
Smartphone is a device you can use to make phone calls, or you can use it to get on the internet and subscribe to We Don't Have Cookies.
And take pictures.
Yeah, take pictures too. I think I use my phone more for taking pictures than calling people these days.
Hey, what is a graphics card?
It's a part of a computer that helps with visuals, but other than that...
Like a dedicated graphics card.
What's that?
Like a dedicated graphics card.
Yeah, I just know it's part of my computer. Other than that, I don't know a whole lot about it, to be honest. You're very good at computers, Frankie. That's one thing I've learned about you. You know,
I like to introduce a new guy's name. It's Joey Arnley. He lives in British Columbia, Canada.
All right, Frankie, is there anything you would like to promote before you go?
My website, my Facebook is Frankie MacDonald, and Frankie MacDonald public figure fan page with a blue check mark. My Twitter is @Frankie McD. My Instagram is Frankie MacDonald 1984. My Snapchat is Frankie MacDon. My YouTube is Dog Close. My LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald, and my TikTok is Frankie MacDonald 1984.
All right, Frankie, it was great talking to you. I'll talk to you next week.
Yes, best luck to you. I'm Frankie MacDonald. You are listening to We Don't Have Cookies Internet Radio Show.
I told you guys it was going to be a longer than normal episode, but there's still one more thing we have to do, and that is this week's Strange Days. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, Monday, January 18th, is Thesaurus Day. I'm surprised they didn't pick a different name for that. Tuesday is Popcorn Day. My daughter loves popcorn, so I'm sure she will be celebrating Popcorn Day. Wednesday is Penguin Awareness Day, so go to your local zoo and spill the tea to those birds. Thursday is Squirrel Appreciation Day. I don't even know how you would celebrate that. Maybe leave a jar of nuts outside. I don't know. Friday is hot sauce day and answer your cat's question day. Remember that time I had the animal communicator on the podcast and she interviewed my cat? That was awesome. Saturday is, by the way, if you want to listen to that, the title of that episode is Cat Has Her Tongue, I think. So you can check that out in the archives. Saturday is handwriting day and Sunday is compliment day. You can celebrate compliment day by sending me an email, jason@wedon'thavecookies.com, and tell me what your favorite part of the show is. I'd love to hear from you. I had a lot of fun on this episode. I hope you did too. I have another fun one planned for next week, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you all have a great week. I'll talk to you next Monday.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show and leave a review. See you next time.
Oh my gosh.